You're listening to Parasearch Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or their affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, this is Jeff Belanger, author, researcher for Ghost Adventures, host of New England Legends, and of course, beer drinker. And you're listening to PSH Radio with Sam and Carl on the Parasearch Network. They're broadcasting to you from Old England. You can tell by the accents.
Good evening, guys. We are back again, obviously, because it's Thursday, and obviously a quick one, which we shall obviously introduce originally separately in a moment, but obviously we are joined by some of the UK Haunted Live team, because this Saturday, if you don't already know, they are doing a Facebook Live with Really TV on their Facebook page. So first, obviously, we're good because he's like the main radio host. Carl will obviously make him fit.
That's probably the nicest way of being introduced. The radio host, Carl. No, hello, Sam. How are you doing?
I'm good. I nearly called you hostess, so...
I answer to many things in life, and hostess, mostess, with the trolley, I'll answer to anything.
And then we have Nick Stepani.
Hi!
How are you, Nick?
I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. It's great to be here, guys. Thank you so much for the offer to come onto the show. As always, it's a cheermate moment for me. I'm loving it.
No problemo, Nick. And
Thank
then,
you.
Least but not last, is Alex Duggan.
Woo!
Woo! We should be, also, guys, if you're listening, we should maybe joined by someone else later on in the show. So, we'll see what happens. So,
who's that, Sam? Sam, hang on, you can't just leave it there. Who's that? Who is it?
Amy.
Oh.
So, obviously, UK Haunted Live, guys. Again, is this your third year with Really now, or is it your second?
Fourth show, yeah, fourth live show.
Fourth show. Third for me.
Fourth for me.
See, I don't even know. I haven't watched every single one. But we're not off to a very good start, are we?
Okay, who's filling the glass up with water?
Sorry. Sorry, that was me. I was just going to the toilet.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Remember, Nick, when we say we're live, that actually does mean we're actually live.
Oh, it's not pre-recorded. Sorry.
No. Sorry. Nick is always live.
It's fine.
Right, Sam, go for it.
It's like completely knocked off balance. I don't even. Yeah, I've just lost all complete.
That's all right. I'll
just go for it.
Nick has knocked you off your game. I'll start it off. And yes, this Saturday, we're going to be live on all really social media threads. So that will be Facebook and Twitter. And this is obviously the fourth show. The first show was at Tutbury Castle. Then we were at the Falstaff. Then we were at the Ancient Ram. And Alex, where are we this Saturday?
We are at Northampton, actually. It's local to me. We are at the Abington Park Museum. It's a local one for us.
Who's got...
What's going on? What is going on?
I bet it's like, because is this like, Alex, is this the first location you've actually done with Really TV local to you?
Yeah. What's the other? Falstaff is about an hour away. That's the other closest. But yeah, this is the local for us. Are you right, Nick?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I'll just put my wig on.
Okay.
Right, so Alex, while Nick's completely throws us on the show.
Sorry.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about the concept and how you came forward and how we are now going to be going for the 4th time live, UK live?
Yeah. I mean, UK Haunted Team, we love investigating. We just love getting out there and kind of seeing what happens, going out on a Saturday night, enjoying, going down the graveyard, the cemetery, those sort of places. That's how kind of we started. And I think the first live in particular, we were kind of thinking about what we could do. It was around just for time. And it was myself, Mickey and Eamon, just the 3 of us at the time. And I mentioned to the guys, maybe offer this to Really TV and maybe do a Facebook Live and see what they say. We've got nothing to lose. So we asked them and they said yes. And Tutbury Castle was the very first one with just a mobile phone of all things. I think it was sort of a 2-hour, 3-hour stream in the end, I think, from a mobile phone. It was really, really successful. And then a year later, we didn't do one for another year. And then the UK Haunted Live team grew. Mr. Nick Stepani and yourself, Carl, and then a few others joined.
Carl, sorry, Alex. I haven't got my TV on, Carl. I've not got it on.
Well, I'm just checking.
Are you watching yourself on telly again, Nick?
Yeah, the adverts. Yeah, I'm watching it.
Tom Bowler advert.
Yeah.
Yes. Go. Sorry, Alex.
So and we've done it. We did one last Halloween at the Full, and that went really well, even better. And then we did one. So that was the first big live with Nick hosting and Carl as a tech guy with the CCTV. We had quite a few problems that night, didn't we? And
yeah.
Then we got another one at Christmas, and that was even bigger and better. So then we kind of approached UK TV really and saying we want to do more and more. And then we've got another one. So this Saturday, this is our biggest location. We've got a couple of guys helping with production now as well. David Easton, Glyn Allen, which are great guys that I've worked with before, local as well. So they're going to come and help with production. So we're looking to go even bigger this time. Fingers crossed, it all goes to plan.
Mm.
So,
But that's the beauty, though, isn't it, Alex? It's live. Anything can happen, and we just have to go with it.
Yeah. I think the thing is, it's the way we do our lives and the way we produce them. It's all self-produced. We do it all ourselves, and everybody mucks in. And Carl and Mickey are running around setting CCTV up. Nick's practicing his lines, trying to run around like headless chicken and ordering pizzas for everybody. And I think it's just fun of it. It's a great family. And when the very first multi one we did, I know we spoke about it before, but it was like 12 seconds before we went live, before the cameras were fully on, and that was a pretty close call, that was. And then
if anybody had actually seen, because what we do now is we put a CCTV camera sort of like behind the scenes. If anybody could actually witness what we were like, Nick was on meltdown because we didn't even have his auto cue set up. Alex has got his head in the back of the switch unit trying to get it to work. And we eventually got one camera working with like 12 seconds to go. So we just went with that one camera. And as the show progressed, we managed to get one other camera working. And there was a little bit of a technical hitch. But that's what the UK Haunted Live is all about. It's that raw. And that's what we do. That's what the guys do. And that's what me and Nick do. We bounce off each other in the studio. So, yeah.
Well, that's what the live's like as well. I think people, live TV, obviously, it's a huge setup. With trucks, they have weeks in advance to set this up. Now we've got a matter of hours to set this up and have it a similar, do you know what I mean, multi-camera broadcast there. Obviously, it's Facebook, but we want it to be as good as it can be. We know that nobody's really doing what we're doing. We want to be we see it as the future as well, being on social media, as this one is going to be on Facebook and also Periscope for Twitter. The platform is just getting bigger and bigger, and we want to keep pushing that. And I think what we've got here is definitely, it's new, it's kind of innovative as well, that we can keep kind of building, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep growing each time and improving, and each time we do a live we think of different ideas, and we want to grow, add more cameras in. I mean, this one we've added an extra camera as well, and lots of different experiments coming up on set. I'm even more excited. It's going to be huge.
Yeah, because it must even take you hours anyway, mustn't it, on a small location? So it's probably going to take you longer on this location because it's bigger than, I'm taking it's bigger than any of the other locations you've done with, really.
It is, yeah. We're huge. We're hiring kind of wireless microwave transmitters and all this for cameras, and lots of different things coming on board now. As I say, we're all self-produced, so we do it all ourselves. We're all learning as we go. I mean, I'm kind of self-taught in lots of kind of production and editing, and I've just learned this gone along. But as a team, we're all growing, we're all learning, and we're improving because we're listening to the people. I mean, I know we said with the guys, the very first one we did as a team at the Full Stop, people just wanted to get on and investigate. So the next one, it was literally like 10 minutes in, we're investigating. So we're listening to the people, and we're trying to do what people want us to do, and people just want to see investigation shows. Obviously, there's lots of different paranormal concepts and stuff, but we love the raw live, which is, for us, it's, I don't know, it just works, and I think it comes across on camera. We all get on, we're all best of friends as well, but the team hasn't come together just because we're friends. It's just worked because everybody brings their own piece to the jigsaw. And I know, I love it. Can't wait for Saturday.
Yeah, because the only real sort of professional in live TV is obviously Nick, coming from. Well, he claims
allegedly.
He claims to be, but no, Nick. We obviously like myself, Mickey, Alex, and Eamon's obviously did most haunted and stuff like that. But when you do live TV, or technically it is live TV, but it's a live broadcast. It's a completely different thing about doing a pre-recorded show, because you can then go, right, let's do that again, i.e. the bit pieces to camera. We can't do that with this, and obviously Nick, being Mr. Presenter, Nick's obviously had exposure to this in his career, but it's completely new to myself. Obviously, I've done a little bit of TV, and obviously Alex and Mickey have done live TV with the Haunted Hotel. Obviously, Eamon's done on the pre-records and done a live. So it's for me personally, it was quite daunting when somebody went, particularly when we had the moments when we're doing the lives where Nick's not there. Nick's been sent off into there, and somebody then goes, we're going back live to the studio, and I'm like, well, I'm the only one in the studio. Oh my God. So this is it though, Carl. You know, it's only at that moment that you've got to think on your feet and you just go with it. Absolutely. And you've got no choice. Yeah, and I really do enjoy it. And working with Nick, because obviously me and Nick in the studio, we work very, very closely together, and we have that banter which we've had from day one when we first met. So seeing how Nick works has helped me, because being relaxed on camera and knowing where the camera is, and just being relaxed, and just at the end of the day, just not imagining everybody watching it and just seeing this red light or the camera. In fact, you just do it, and you just trust your gut, knowing your ability and knowing what you can do, and you just go with it.
Yeah.
It's great fun.
It is good fun. Yeah,
I think with live TV, people don't realise. I mean, it's, as you say, it's totally different. Once that camera is there, and people are viewing, you've got to just go it. You've just got to do it. You've got to go with whatever you've got. And the thing, I've worked with people like obviously Christine Lampard and Jamie East and a few others, Matt Richardson, and they're the utmost professional. They've done loads of live TV, and I mean, when we did the first show, there was for the Haunted Hotel that we did. My first experience of live broadcast, it was daunting for every single person there. It doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it. They were all like cacking themselves. They were, because they're just, it's live TV and they don't want to mess up. You've got so many people watching you and you're judged kind of on that. But for me personally, actually, do you know what? In a way, I'm preferring it more to the pre-recorded stuff, because we don't know what's happening. People that are viewing are seeing it exactly as it happens. There's just that kind of, you don't know that's it. It's the fear of it, and it's the unknown, and the fun of it. When things do go wrong and you can have a laugh, that's the best moments, because it's like, do you know what? Let's just do it because we've got to do it. We've got no choice.
Yeah, and it is what it is, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't try and be anything else.
No,
we can try and polish it as much as we want, but do you know what? I think that real kind
but
of.
Can I just say though, what the thing for me, and I did my own little live yesterday, and I mentioned that without the viewers getting involved and getting interactive, then do you know what I mean? It's just like any other show.
Yeah. I think that's where it really comes into its own, because I mean, I've watched the live shows over the years, the different paranormal live shows, and you try and bring the viewer in. But that's the joy of social media, is that the viewers are there with you. They're seeing your kind of point of view, and a lot of people, it's more immersive than, say, TV. They can sit down with their iPad, with a phone, even on their smart TV now. People can sit down and they're watching like the handheld feel, but they can comment, and I'm getting the comments live to me. And everybody else is reading these comments as well in the studio, and they're seeing exactly. So if we're hearing something straight away, we can ask the audience, "Did you hear that?" And they're like the extra investigator, and they're saying yes. And when you're getting 5, 10, 20 people all saying they're hearing the same thing, that just it confirms it for us. Because when you're on the investigate, you guys know when you're investigating, you kind of mind can play tricks on you. You can hear things you want to hear. There's different kind of theories of pareidolia and all this sort of stuff. But when people at home are hearing it as well, it's just an extra kind of backup, really, to confirm what we're feeling. And that's you need that now.
Because I think that's the thing that I enjoy about it a lot, is because I'm obviously my part of it obviously is the equipment tech for you guys, making sure you got the right equipment with you and all that sort of stuff. That's done before we even get anywhere near it, because that's all charged, ready to go. It's all ready to go at the moment. And then obviously when it comes to the CCTV, there isn't many lives that happen on Facebook that actually has multi-camera live, so the investigation to the studio. But then you've also got the added extra. You've got then 8 CCTV cameras that are the eyes and ears for the viewers that basically direct the show, because it happened at the Ancient Ram. We set that, and there was activity going on in a particular room, and we were sending the boys in. We were getting multiple people saying, there's something going on here, there's something going on there. So aren't we then passing that back, and then it's obviously being relayed back to the guys live in the location. And then they'd been directed, and obviously we have little bits of surprises that happen during the show, such as Nick going up on his own in the full staff into the pyramid. And obviously the thing that happened in the pyramid, where you clearly see it on the show, there's a dark shadow that moves behind it just seconds before Nick reacts. Yeah. And then on the last one at the Ancient Ram, I must admit, the Ancient Ram was truly and utterly amazing for me personally, from the experiences I had, but also the way it panned out. It's sort of, I know it sounds strange, and I know people probably, it's all scripted, this, that, and the other, but it wasn't. It sort of, as soon as we started, it was just slowly, and then it started building and building till we had the crescendo in the loft at the end before we went off air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember obviously us all in on that thingy with Nick when you were at Ancient Ramen, and he was freaking out, and we were all out on the Facebook like go and check on Nick, something's happening to Nick, you know.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what people don't know about, because obviously there wasn't any sound on that particular CCTV. Nick was freaking out at a Vibe pod that was flashing in the corner.
Yes, and I wish you guys would have told me what that was.
Yeah, but it's a motion sensor, so Nick's wandering around and walking around, and this thing is picking up his movement. So Nick's seeing these lights reacting, and
But I've got to say, right, there is no way on earth that I would have ever thought that I would have been in the Bishop's Room in the Ancient Ram Inn. That location is known globally, you know, for its paranormal activity. And to be in that room alone, I've overcome a sense of I've achieved something personally.
Yeah. Too right. And obviously myself, I never thought I'd be alone in the out in the barn, sitting there listening to voices that are coming through, hitting names that I knew. And I didn't because I didn't actually have any feedback at the time. I didn't know that people were saying, "Oh, that sounds like Carl that's been called through Eamon's amazing."
Exactly.
I didn't see any of that. Yes, in the studio we have the live feed, but we're doing stuff. We're monitoring. We're looking through comments. So we're not actually watching what. Sometimes we're not actually watching what the guys are doing. We're concentrating on what we're like. Nick's preparing for his next link. I'm going through the comments to make sure they're all up to date, and then I can then direct, or if there's anything interesting, I'm going back and looking at the footage. So all of a sudden, and Nick's exactly the same, suddenly security pops their head through the tent or the door and says, "Oh, by the way, Nick, you're going up," or "Carl, you're going here," and we just go, "What do you mean? What we're doing?" I'm going here. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so, but that's the whole interactive with the show. The viewers that are watching it are the ones that basically said, "Nick, we want Nick to do something," or on the first one at the full staff, Leanne to do something, or me to go off and to join the guys. So it's completely and utterly about what you guys, the viewers, are seeing, hearing, experience. Because we had people experiencing stuff like sickness, feelings of this, that, and the other when we were at the Ancient Ram and when we were at the full staff. People were actually reacting to the location by just watching it, and they're telling us. So we were then relaying that back to the guys who are in the investigation, so they've got something to work with.
Listen, guys, I've got to go. I've got Lulu and Claire waiting for me. I've got an appointment with them. It's been a pleasure, but listen, I'll see you all on the live on Saturday.
See you there, mate.
Love ya.
Love you.
Bye.
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 Right. Continuing on.
No, I think that's what and Carl, I think people don't realise there's a little bit of a delay. So you guys are getting like a 20-second delay from the live when you're watching on Facebook and stuff. So they don't always, that kind of doesn't always show them everything as well. But then the CCTV, nobody is kind of really doing, say, 8 cameras. I mean, I've seen sort of 4, but we're going with 8. And then the other kind of live cameras as well. So it's getting bigger and bigger. And this time, an exclusive, we're actually going to have, hopefully, sound on one of the main CCTV cameras. We're going to set an experiment up, and we're going to have sound from, apparently, so the staff say, it's the most active area in that building. We're going to have a CCTV on something, on some objects with a chair next to it for people to go and do vigils, possibly on their own. I'm going to leave some things as a surprise, but that's going to have a link on the CCTV, which is going to have sound this time as well. So that's where we're just kind of adding things.
I can just see Carl shaking his head.
I hate that Alex went, well, I'm going to leave that as a surprise, because we know what that means. One of us that isn't on the investigation team is going to get picked to go and do something.
But that's just where we kind of try and improve and evolve, and it's still, in a way, it's quite nice the way we've had it, because when you're on TV, it's like people want to see it perfect and stuff, and if it's not, you get judged on that straight away. Where with us, we've been able to evolve for what the viewers want. And seeing those comments, people have commented saying, "Stop the talking, get investigated." But we've listened to that. We love investigating, and that's what the viewers want to see as well. So why not give them what they want? It's at the end of the day, this is one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing. We want to get the viewers involved, and we truly listen to them each time. So there's more and more ideas. And I think the sound on the CCTV for the YouTube, which is going to be on our UK Haunted YouTube this time, hopefully that is going to be pretty good. So we've got a few different experiments that are going to be on CCTV this time as well. So
that's going to be a first, because to my knowledge there isn't any other live CCTV streams on a live broadcast that actually has sound.
Oh, really? Yeah.
On the actual CCTV, yes, on the actual show, but not actually on the CCTV camera. So that's going to be quite an amazing first for us as well.
Yeah.
So just going back, obviously, this Saturday, the 26th. 27th. Sorry, 27th. Sorry. I'm a bit tired. I've had a long day. So the 27th,
Yeah.
27th, on both Facebook and Twitter, which for that sort of period hasn't really done for that period of time for anybody really.
Yeah.
How I obviously know a little bit about the location a little bit, but for people that are listening tonight, how did you choose the location, and can you give us a little bit of an insight of why we chose the location?
Yeah, well, this location, it's not really been investigated. I know maybe a handful of times it has, and because it being local, I know a couple of people that have had experiences there. Now, there is so much history from this particular location. It used to be a manor house from the 1500s, so it's quite old. And then it was kind of passed down to different families, and then I believe it was the 1800s, middle of 1800s. It was turned into an insane asylum, as they called it then, and it was turned into a hospital because there was, I can't remember the gentleman. We'll obviously look this up on for Saturday, but he was he didn't like the way certain people were treated in these asylums, so he wanted to set up his own one to care for people properly and give them the proper support, mental health, psychiatric, all this sort of stuff. He wanted to support people, so this is why this was turned into a psychiatric hospital in the 1800s. And it remained that for 60, 70 years, I believe. So there's not kind of horror stories, but there is stories of people sadly passing away and whatnot with that. But then following it being a psychiatric hospital, it was taken over by a lady who was one of the most wealthy people in Britain. Lady Wantage. She was one of the biggest landowners. She would have been, say, a billionaire in kind of our money. And she had the house for a little while, and then she handed it over to the people of Northamptonshire for them to enjoy in the parkland. So there's a lot of history from the park as well. It's so Abington Park, they had the Abington Gallows were in the park, and that's where 1600s there was the big witch trials in Northamptonshire. 5 witches were hung there. So there's a lot of history in that area as well. But this location in particular, because it's not really been done, but obviously it's a museum as well. There's lots of different exhibitions in there. There's one exhibition which is the old dentistry exhibition, and that is actually where the most active area is around that spot. And there's the old dentist tools and all the pliers and all. It looks horrible, but these are proper objects, proper old kind of authentic museum objects. There's exhibitions from the war. There's even kind of like Egyptian stuff in there as well. So there's a massive range of kind of objects there from centuries old. There is. So it's fascinating, and I can't wait to kind of show people this location. It's a beautiful place as well. And we just want to show, because being local, we don't really show off Northampton and our history, and we should really. It's like you can go to lots of different places, and they're very proud of their culture, but for some reason we don't really do it as much. I don't know why in this area, but let's just showcase for kind of our own history. And there's a lot about Northamptonshire that people don't really know, so we've got a bit of history in the show for that will probably open people's eyes as well.
Yeah, because one of the things, until you, myself and you were talking about it, I didn't know anything about this whole thing about there was the witch trials and these four witches got hung. I didn't know that had anything to do anything in Northampton. So that was quite an eye opener for me when you were telling me the history of that.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. People don't realise. Northamptonshire was one of the first places to trial witches by dunking. So that was where they threw them into, say, a river or water, and if they were witch, they floated. But obviously if they weren't, then maybe they didn't survive either, if you get what I'm saying. They climb up and throw them in the river.
Well, maybe I've brought something back from Salem that will basically G them up as well, because I've just come back from a place where they killed 13 witches. So
this is real history, and we often forget that a lot of the place, it's not actually that long ago.
No.
People being tried and people being executed. You could have been talking to yourself in the street, and people could have essentially, you could have been called a witch, or you could have called something else, and you were put up in, and you had to prove that you were innocent because you were guilty. If you went to trial, you were pretty much guilty, unless you knew somebody high up in the area, in the community. You would be executed. Where the number 13 comes from, unlucky, because in Northampton they used to hang the lucky number for them was 13 people at a time, and it's. I mean, I love the history anyway, but it's a real eye opener when this is not that long ago, a few hundred years ago, this was happening. It's what's shocking, really. Do you think about it?
Yeah. Just going back onto the lunatic asylum, Alex. The owner who first directed it was called Thomas Octavius Pritchard. And then his cousin took it over, Thomas Pritchard.
Yeah, that's the one. And I think it's apparently they did want to do it because they wanted to kind of give people a nice kind of standard of living and better care, which people maybe didn't get in those days for whatever reason. So it's a nice. It's not kind of a horrible feel to the place, but it's an active feel, and I think with some of the experiments we've got to come, the spirits will see this as their opportunity to come and talk to us. And as I say, one of the stories as well, Elizabeth Bernard, I believe her name was, she was William Shakespeare's last living descendant of his bloodline.
Granddaughter. She's granddaughter.
She lived in the house, and she's actually buried in the church which is next to it. And they didn't realise she was buried in there until they were doing some renovations on the church, and they moved this kind of plaque out the way, and there was a thing on the wall saying this is where Miss Bernard lies, kind of last descendant of William Shakespeare. So that's how they kind of found out, and it's crazy, really. But there's a story that Shakespeare's final kind of manuscripts and papers have never been found, and people believe that it would have been passed down to his last known descendant, this being his granddaughter. So there is a lot of speculation that maybe these papers are hidden in the location somewhere. So that's kind of a fascinating story as well on its own. It's really exciting.
And I think it'll be interesting for you guys to obviously see if Elizabeth or any of the other people who used to live there, or they were there when it was an asylum, to see if you can make contact with them. That'd obviously be really interesting to find out.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we've also had, and it's quite strange, even from the first one into the Falstaff, from Tutbury to the Falstaff to the Ancient Ram, we've had stuff that's been happening that's sort of linked all the way through, haven't we, Alex?
We have, yeah. That name. I've forgotten the name already. Arthur, that was it. And there was some people at home that reminded me, because I totally forgot. We had Arthur upstairs in the attic at the Falstaff, and then when we got to the Ram Inn, we were getting Arthur. I mean, it was saying that all day, and we were like, and it didn't click to me at all. And
didn't even click to me until I got actually into when I'm sat in front of that machine in the darkness. Obviously there was names that were coming through that sort of. But when Eamon first set the machine up, this was like hours before we went live. Yeah. This machine was just, I've never heard. I heard the machine at the Falstaff, and it was good, but the way it was set up at the Ancient Ram, I've never heard voices as clear. Yeah. Just literally seconds after it was turned off, and it wasn't even calibrated right, and everything like this. And these voices were coming through during the setup, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Eamon's always working on different kind of machines and devices, and we've been talking about different experiments, and we've got a really exciting experiment to do with resonance and vibrations and different things, which is going to be on the night. So we're really excited for this one as well. Because we've been looking at a lot of how people hear and kind of amplifying sounds and stuff. Because one of the things I was looking into, it sounds a bit odd, but seashells. And people say when they're listening to a seashell, they can hear the sea. Mm-hmm. But it's obviously not the sea, because you're not at the sea sometimes. And then people would say it's your inner ear sounds. But what it is actually the sounds that are in the room the room or the area that you're in, and those sounds are being amplified, so you're then able to hear it. It's a bit like a parabolic microphone. So you have the kind of dish on the side which will bring in the sounds and then amplify them, so it makes you can pinpoint different sounds. So we're looking at a bit of an experiment to do with that, a bit like the 360 EVP, where we're going to have 5 or 6 microphones set up in an area, and we're also going to play some different tones to resonate different vibrations that are going to work together. And we are really, really excited. This has never been tried before. There is different theories behind it. So we look at theories. We're always looking at different theories, different paranormal theories and science, etc. But we're then thinking, let's bring different bits together to kind of enhance things, and throw in some different kind of EMF pulses and lots of different video feedback loop in the same room. Lots of different things going on. So that's really exciting for Saturday as well. Can't wait.
It's going to be fun, I must admit. And the most important thing that is going to be, obviously, we're going to be doing the investigation. There's me and Nick and Leanne and Andrew are going to be in the studio, but it comes down to the interaction on social media, which is the big thing, because, like, as both Nick and Alex has mentioned, you guys are another pair of ears. You are another investigator that are watching these things. So, like I say, even if it's the most strangest, weirdest thing that comes into your head, comment on the show, comment on the live feeds, because what people have realised when you actually see it is we see it and somebody will mention something, and then all of a sudden we'll get more and more comments about it. Yeah. And then that becomes, okay, so is that something that's happening? But then you get sort of comments all the way through the night of, like, certain names. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, when you look back at the feed, you can see that there's all these people saying different names, the same name at different times of the investigation.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. When you're using different technology, we can't always hear it for how it comes across. I mean, myself and Mickey, obviously when we first started UK Haunted, we'd film our stuff and it was pre-recorded, and we'd be on the investigation and we wouldn't necessarily hear voices and names until we look back on it. And sometimes it's so clear when you're listening back. So sometimes people watching at home and listening back through their screen, they're going to hear it completely different to what we're hearing live. So they may even get a better kind of view of what's going on than us. And that's the joy of it. And things like spirit boxes and stuff, we may not hear it, but a spirit box and it's producing a vibration which is going to enhance EVPs. So with EVP, we're not going to hear that with our own ears, but potentially people down the TV or down the iPad or whatever, the computer, they could hear those EVPs live through their own speakers, because it's kind of, it's recording, but then it's sending that recording to those, if that makes sense. There's so many different abilities. You've got to be open to it.
Yeah, because when you're on a live investigation and the resonance from the spirit box, the SP7 or the SP11 or whatever we use in the Frank box or whatever we're using, if you stand very, very close, the resonance in your ears, you're hearing different words. If you're like 4 foot away or 5 foot away, you're hearing kind of the same but a slightly different resonance. And then if you're further away, you're going to hear something. You're going to hear a slightly lesser one, because obviously it's like throwing a pebble into water. It's sort of massive, and then starts spreading out. And that's the good thing about the SP7 is I've seen this before, where you record, you're live and you listen and you hear a name, but then when you play it back, you hear something completely different.
Yeah. At the time you can hear it, and sometimes maybe you're listening out for it. So it kind of works both ways. Maybe you're hearing something that's not there, or maybe you miss something that is there. So it's kind of double-edged sword really. And that is the joy of people watching at home. If they're hearing what we're hearing, it would just confirm it for us as well. And that's what you need. But you get that live. So on a pre-recorded, you're not going to get that until you review it. But you want that feedback, because if you do hear it, or maybe you miss something, it could be really important. But if you've missed it, it's gone. You've gone to a next room. But if you do hear it, the spirits will know, oh, they have heard me. So maybe it will encourage more activity and stuff. And then you can investigate it and go deeper into it.
Yeah.
Which happened at the the ancient ram. You were going to move locations, but then we were getting information that people were hearing, or they were sort of hearing things through this out, and you stayed and you got some amazing stuff that was going on. So it's always about the interaction between the viewers and the listeners, and that's what we do. We're not going to basically just do the typical go in there 45 minutes, then cut, go to an ad break, whatever. We're live investigating, and we want you to direct us where to go. If you're seeing something on the cameras, on the CCTV, you directors will tell the guys, they'll go there.
Yeah. I remember at the full stuff, I did a big run sheet. We're going to have 45 minutes this area. We're going to do this and this. And it went out the window, like the first 10 seconds, it was gone. It was like, do you know what? Let's just do what we do. We know how to investigate, and let's just enjoy it, and let's have a ghost hunt. And that's the fun of it. I mean, I remember when we did the Tutbury Castle, and this kind of sticks out to me as well. I heard a dog bark, and it was just myself, Mickey, and Eamon in this area. And it was really late, sort of 11 o'clock. And we were obviously in the middle of a castle. And Mickey and Eamon didn't hear it. And I was like, I swear I heard a dog bark. So I radioed down. The people in the studio heard it, and then the people at home heard it. But Mickey and Eamon didn't hear it. So as you say, when you pick something up, doesn't mean everybody's going to hear it in that room. Stuff, and that's where it's just invaluable, and that's where we've evolved each time for what the viewers want, and that's the joy of the CCTV as well, because you got to think. I mean, this time in particular, the studio is inside the location, so we've got a good idea for that as well. But this is where this whole building, if you got a haunted building, doesn't mean something's going to happen just because you're in that room. Something could happen in another room. And because we've got the CCTV, we can then react to that. If something's happened in another room on some of the equipment that we may set up, then we can go to there. Think, okay, this is where the activity is, and let's do something here.
And one of the good things about this time, we're going to be using a wireless camera, so we haven't got the limitations of cable.
Yeah. So we're going to have 2 separate night vision cameras, so we can also split up and mix between the 2 cameras in night vision, so we can have separate visuals with full kind of HD quality and sound and stuff that we can kind of mix between the 2. So that's really good as well, and just something that we've not really done before. I think that's the very first one. We did it with a mobile phone. We wanted to make sure it worked. We wanted to keep it simple. There's so much more we can do, but each time we're kind of just trying a little bit more and trying a little bit more. We want to get it right, of course we do. The main thing is the investigation. At the end of the day, if one camera works, that's good enough.
Yeah. As we found out the full stuff.
Yeah, that's it. But hopefully we can keep improving, and the sky's the limit, really. We've got the investigation, we've got lots of different experiments we want to try for this weekend, and then the production is growing and growing, and it just enhances it, really, because we're about the investigation. If we don't kind of have to necessarily worry about and getting other people to come and support with the production, that just makes it even better for us.
Yeah, because it leaves you guys to concentrate on what you guys do best, and that's the investigation side. And obviously that leaves Nick to do the presenting side on what he does. So that's the bonus, because I must admit, since I've been involved with it, obviously from the full stuff, it was like it was just hands to the pump and everybody running around. We learned so much from the full stuff. Yeah, about running cables, about making sure that basically we had an area we could work in instead of just dumping everything in the corner, and then you couldn't find anything. And we just learned, and obviously the ancient ram, the setup and the pre-stuff before the show, I couldn't believe how well it went. We didn't really have that many issues.
No.
I'm going to touch wood. We don't have exactly the same at this Saturday, but everybody knew what they were doing, because we'd learned from the full staff, and cables were being run, studio was being set up, the production unit was being set up in the van. But one thing is, we were setting stuff up, and then we'd be moving the bags to a certain other location, so they were there, so they weren't getting in the way of everybody else.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. And we've been able to evolve not just the production, but also the show itself. We've been able to change things, see what works, what doesn't work, and enhance it more. As I say, this one we're going to have 2 night vision cameras. So as in last time, went off on his own. He didn't have any sound. We've looked at that already, and we said, you know what, let's have another camera. So if that ever happens and somebody's got a dedicated camera, they can go off, and you can switch between the two. Because it's like, as I said earlier, we don't know where the activity is going to happen. But if it is happening, we want to go to it straight away and act on that. We can't just say, oh, it's too late, it's gone. We want to be able to switch to it straight away.
Oh, yeah, and that's the thing that I find really exciting about it is it's not just one camera. So basically, it's just where you're pointing it at the time. In a massive location, but it's where you're pointing it. We have eyes and ears of like 8 CCTV cameras with everybody watching.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we got the investigation camera, we've got camera in the studio, and then obviously we've got this other camera. We've got multiple ways of basically, if you're seeing something in another room, we can then react to that, and we can be there. Yeah. It's not like we're going to have to I'll go to an ad break and then reset up and run cables. We can go literally straight there, and we don't care about the bit where, okay, if you see somebody back of the head when you're just walking down a corridor, because that's what you do in a location when you go out, when you investigate, when you're not doing anything like this. Yeah. You're going to be moving between locations. You're going to be moving. You're going to be reacting to noises. You're going to be reacting to like bangs and whatever. And that's the good thing about what we're going to be doing this Saturday is we have got enough equipment, enough cameras, enough sound and everything like that to be able to look. If somebody hears something, we can go straight there. Yeah.
We're going to have lots of different options. And that's what you've got to have as well. You've got to be flexible. A bit like the full stuff where things don't always go right, but you've got to have different options to be able to kind of make it happen. And if things, you can change it up and stuff like that. So this time we've got a lot more options, a lot more flexibility of what we can do. Essentially, we can have sort of 4 main cameras that we could. I mean, if it all kicks off, we can take all those cameras out and we go to where they are.
Yes.
But then, of course, we're the studio being in. There's a room which was the main hall. It's called the Oak Room. That is actually the oldest part of the building, and that is where the studio is going to be. And this room is an amazing looking room. It's going to look beautiful. And that is active as well. So that's the joy. When we're out investigating, everybody that's on the investigation, the whole crew, are going to be locked inside this location. And the whole building is a haunted location. So it doesn't matter where you are, you're not safe. If you know what I mean. So just because you're in a nice studio.
And the best thing, I think, if Nick was still on here, the best thing for myself and Nick is we're going to be warm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're not going to be under blankets. We're not going to have heaters underneath the tables when you're doing live things. We're not going to be like shivering away and then trying to look like we're perfectly fine, like we were at the Falstaff or the Ancient Ram.
It was colder inside than it was outside.
Yeah. That is true. I must admit that was true. That was weird. It was like anybody that's ever when you go on holiday and you go to like Spain and you walk and you have to walk across the runway to go into the bus and you walk out of that plane and get hit with that heat. That's what the Ancient Ram was like. Yeah. You go inside, you come back out, and you got hit with that heat, and it was really weird because at the end of the day, it was just like you said, it was just after Christmas.
Yeah, it was still cold, but it just showed you how cold it was inside the building.
Exactly. No, I think the good thing about what we're going to be doing is we have those options.
Yeah.
And we can react to them, and everybody trusts everybody on the team. So if need be, somebody can hold the fort in the studio, or if there's activity in the studio, we'll have equipment, we can do this, that, and the other. So we can react. If you guys see anything or hear anything, we can then react to that.
Yeah,
right. I have a few questions in the chat room, Alex. He's going away from the UK Haunted Live a bit, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, first question is, what got you into the paranormal?
Oh, that's a tough question. To be honest, I think I've always been intrigued by it. And I can't really say I saw a ghost when I was younger, or I can't really recall a time I was this age. I've always been fascinated in the unknown. I see the paranormal as everything unknown. So it's not necessarily just spirits. It's people talk about UFOs and urban myths. I'm just fascinated by all that stuff, really. And it's about, I think these days, more and more people are asking questions about what is maybe the reason we're here, what is life, what's death, and death is in my view is there's a reason why. I always say that things happen for a reason. And I've always found that over the years, something happens and you think, why did that happen? You maybe think, but there's a reason, and maybe it's turned into, you don't know it at the time, but later on you review it and you look back at it and you say, oh, that's made me take this path. But I think with life, and there's a reason why life is the way it is. Maybe we don't understand why yet until it's maybe our time to pass over. But then for me, it's just, I've always been intrigued by it, and it's like the ultimate question. Whereas it's not necessarily nothing to be scared of. It's just, why not ask questions? Why not be kind of intrigued by it and just want to see if there is anything else? I mean, I've had signs over the years, maybe from loved ones or whatever you want to, from maybe that have passed over. That's very personal to me, but it's sometimes it's too much of a coincidence to be a coincidence, if that's the right way to put it.
Yeah.
For me, it's just fascinates me and stuff, and I think as well as every paranormal investigator will say, you go on a ghost hunt, the first one you may be terrified, you might not necessarily leave your torch off, but you get the bug and you're like, do you know what? And that's about opening yourself up as well. You want to experience more and more. And for me, the very first time I actually went on a ghost hunt was with my brother. It was years and years ago now, and we just went to Sherwood Forest with a camcorder. And we just went out, and ever since then, I've just been, I want to see more and experience more. So it's just something I can't really explain. Just intrigued by the unknown, and I've wanted to go out and it wasn't really until I started looking for it, I started having real experiences. I don't know why that was, but that was me, my personal kind of story, really.
And last question before we go back onto UK Haunted Live: what are your views on paranormal TV shows?
I think each to their own. They've all got their good points, and to be honest, I watch pretty much all of them. And this is where you can get ideas from people. You can maybe see something maybe you don't necessarily agree with, but there is kind of sense in a lot of different experiments. Maybe you're kind of thinking, oh, that's a good idea. And to be honest, it's you've got to kind of go out and do it for yourself. I always say that. I mean, there's lots of public events and paranormal TV shows, but for me personally, it was me going out on my own and experience it for myself, which is kind of maybe made my passion even stronger, sort of thing. And I think TV's a TV show. It's an entertainment show. It's an investigation that's potentially 8, 10, 12 hours long, whatever it is. It's just cut down. For me, my experience going out, it's not always the way it's seen on TV, because they're editing that down into, say, 30 minutes, 20 minutes sometimes of a show. So you're maybe seeing that in 20 minutes, which is sort of 8 to 10 hours. So I think it's just, I love paranormal shows, and long may they continue. But for me, the Facebook we're doing, it's about the interaction. It's different than kind of maybe I've seen other people do. So it's just maybe
one of the things, Alex, about the paranormal shows is it brings new people into the field.
Oh, definitely.
And that's the most, whether it's you're a fan of this show, that show, whatever, you're bringing new blood into the field, because somebody might have be sat there at home, I don't know what to watch, end up watching one of the shows either on TV, satellite, YouTube, and it gets them interested and it gets people into the field, and that's what we want. We want people getting into the field, more people interested in it. Exactly. And I think that's very, very important.
More and more people are asking questions, and I think there's so many platforms that people can go out. Whether you just want to watch it on TV, that's great, but a lot more people are thinking, you know what, I want to go and do this. Because people say to me, well, how did you start doing it? And I just started doing it. And I see anybody can do it, sort of thing. But I don't see anybody has the divine kind of gift that they're, I don't know, the spirits only speak to them. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that spirits, when you start opening yourself up, they will know if maybe you're ready to experience things. As I say, for me personally, I didn't really experience anything until I started looking for it. And I firmly believe that spirits, 99.9% of the times, they don't want to scare you. They want to let you know they're around. And if it is upsetting, then maybe you're not going to show yourself. And also on this kind of the subconscious side of things, which is another theory that I'm kind of into as well, spirits maybe know what you're thinking. So if you've got the right intentions, you're doing it for the right reasons, then activity will kind of come to you. But you have to have that in your heart, if you like. because if you haven't, then maybe the spirit will know. And you've got to do it because you want to do it. It's a passion. It's not, you know what, I want to do this because I want to, I don't know, be famous or be on a TV. It's not about that. Everybody has their own journey, aren't they?
But you have to have that in your heart, if you like.
Oh.
Because if
What?
What's going on there?
Ghost.
Whose feedback was that?
Wasn't mine. I've got headphones in.
I'm only on Skype.
Ghost. We'll blame a ghost. So, Alex, a good question for you, because obviously I've known you guys for since like the YouTube and public event days. Yeah. So, did you ever think that you would do things like Facebook Live with Really TV now?
No, not really. I mean, I think, as I said before, it's just if you've got a passion to do something, then you go out and do it and things. And people, like anything, especially social media, the way it is these days, people will try and kind of be negative about what you're doing. But if you're enjoying what you're doing, then don't let anybody stop you. And this is not even just a paranoia, it's anything really. I'll just do what you love doing, and who knows where it could take you. I mean, for me, I've just kept wanting to do it and experiencing things, and then connecting with so many great people. I mean, the paranormal field, there is a lot of great people out there that are all doing it for the same reason, and coming together and that. And then, I mean, the guys at Really TV, Leanne and Andrew, they are real true friends, and they're great guys, and they've really supported us 100%. And I can't thank them enough for kind of the opportunities. But the passion, if you've not got the passion, you're not maybe doing it, then it's like you've got to. Because all this and stuff, at the end of the day, I still love going out on a Saturday night to the local kind of haunts, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And that's why you do what you do. Never forget that. I think as long as you've always got that and you're doing it for those reasons, then the sky's the limit, and each to their own. The joy of technology is anybody can do this.
I think like Alex has said, one of the things I think is if you think you can't get into this industry to be on TV, turn back and go the other way, because it ain't going to happen. Not one of us on the UK Live team, apart from obviously Nick, because that was his job anyway, because that's what he was doing long before, but he also had interest in the paranormal. But I never went into the paranormal to be on TV. No. I'm pretty sure Alex is exactly the same, Eamon, Mickey.
I mean, you look at the history and the locations, and it's like, when you have activity happen, you just want it more and more. It's that bug. Everybody talks about the bug, but until you do it, you don't really maybe realise. Yeah. You can go investigation and you maybe get something. It doesn't matter how, it could be tiny, but if you have something you're like, actually, I can't really explain that. That is when it hooks you and stuff. But it's like, for me, it's a kind of a way of life as well. Yeah. I'll always start and continue to ask questions. You know what I mean? Whether it's I'm doing it on Facebook or whether I'm just like, do you know what, doing it on my own and stuff.
This business always brings more questions than answers.
100%. Yeah.
100%. And now, if it ever stopped like that, I think that's the key. Is if you just got to keep plodding along, doing what you're good. Don't get involved in all the weirdness on social media about who's better and all this sort of stuff. Just do what you want to do, and trust who you want to trust, and then just get on with it. Just have a blast, because this field is the most amazing thing you can ever do. Because when you get to know some of these people, it's like before. Obviously, there was the UK Haunted guys, which was like Mickey and Alex and Eamon, and then obviously we've joined, myself and Nick and the rest of it, and every single one of us from the first moment we met just clicked, and we are a family on it, aren't we? Oh yeah, 100%. That's the thing. You can't make that up. I think that just comes across on screen. That's one of the things that we've had from, say, UK TV, where they've said, you know what, the chemistry is there, and but that's because we're all doing it and we're all enjoying what we're doing, and so you can't make that up. You can't force that. We're not there for a paycheck, are we? So
no, not at all. And I think that comes down to the passion as well. And as you say, social media, I mean, whether it's a paranormal or every day, I mean, there's so much kind of negativity in the world. It's like, just put that to the side. People don't have, it's up to you whether you want to get involved in that sort of thing. And for us, we just enjoy what we do. We concentrate on what we're doing. We're more than happy to, I mean, we're the most interactive kind of groups on Twitter. You look at how many tweets I've done, sort of 60-odd thousand tweets and stuff. We're out there, we're supporting people, we retweet people, and that's what it's about. And I always say social media isn't very sociable if you don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
It can be used for so much good. So why not use it for that and get the answers to what everyone's searching for? And if you have your own experiences, it doesn't mean you have to kind of put it on. This is it matters what you think, and if you know that you've had that experience, then that's good enough.
Right, Sam.
Right. With that said, it has come to the end. Yeah, I know. This it always happens, doesn't it? That we talk for ages. So, Alex, quickly, if nobody knows, of course, if they don't follow you on social media, where can they find you on Saturday?
They can find us at they can find us on Really TV's Twitter channel. So Really TV's Twitter and also their Facebook channel, and also UK Haunted's YouTube, official UK Haunted. We'll put all the links out and stuff when we go live, and we'll be sharing it. So we're looking to go live with a test card around about 9:15, and then there'll be a countdown leading up to 9 o'clock.
One thing about the test card, and you see the clock, please don't comment and say, when does it start?
I'll be there to kick their asses, don't worry. As always, as well as many few. So, guys, obviously, Alex, I would like to thank you for coming on, because it's been years since I've spoken to you.
Speak to you again very soon.
Yeah, and Carl, always a pleasure. And before I say goodnight, guys, just a quick one. If you miss any of our shows, you can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Podbean, and obviously Speaker. What you are listening to us now. Just search for Parasearch Radio, and it's a good night from me, Carl.
Good night, and thanks, Alex.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
See you later.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.